So the final section here is the conclusion and problem statement before we get into the references. This is another short section, probably the shortest. We're maybe looking at just a couple of paragraphs, right, that we're going to be writing here. And we have two purposes with this. We need to summarize it to give a overview of everything that we did. So we go back to our entire component of our literature review and we just take out the most important things that show this progression down to what ends up being our problem statement. And our problem statement just basically identifies, here is the whole, right? That we're missing this. In the case of my thesis, we were looking at, do individuals test differently in a group compared to individually, right? And if there's no research on that, that becomes a problem because we've established up here that there are theories that explain why that could become problematic. And so we get into the therefore, all right, future research or something like that needs to address basically what you're going to examine, right? So with this becomes your main component associated with that. Now, this is assuming, when we get into this conclusion or problem statement, this is assuming that we have some original research going on that's next, right? Depending on what your project is and going through, you might end up doing more of an expanded literature review section with this, right, where we would do something different, right? So if we don't have a new study that is coming out, right, we're not addressing the whole, we may then expand this into our next aspect where we would then identify additional needs, which would be the next section. So therefore, instead of be future research, right, it would justify the next steps. But if that's the case where you're not looking at doing a new study, but instead are identifying additional needs or doing some sort of expanded literature review type component, you're going to change this with future research and enter whatever your purpose statement is for your thesis. All right, so that's the last section there. This should be hopefully a little bit of an easy one. If you haven't been going back and modifying your previous assignments for based on your peer review feedback, now is a really good time to focus on that, as this is a shorter one that hopefully won't take as much time.